And we are live back again for episode 189 of Behind the Tool Belt. I'm Ty Backer, your co-host.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Behind the Tool Belt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
I just think our salespeople are being a little bit of, well, lead babies.
Yeah, we don't say lead babies. It's okay for people to specialize in selling instead of canvassing and lead gen for themselves. We call them roofing sales professionals.
Surprisingly, sales are way up as we built heavier duty lead gen systems and let our salespeople be roofing sales professionals.
Better leaves. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Shoo-wee, and we're back. Vic, I think my mic might be off. Yeah, not sure. Or my headphones.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, I can't hear myself. I think we're having some technical difficulties a little bit. It's kind of quiet, but we are back for episode 189. I'm with my good friend Matt Danskin with Restoration Referral Systems. Man, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate you having me on, and excited to do this.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm glad that you've accepted the invitation to come on. I think we ran into each other a couple of times. I'm not sure at what events, but just kind of brief, hey, how you doing? Here and there. I think we were both incredibly busy at those wherever the hell we were. But I do remember we've had brief moments of introductions. But
Yeah.
So how's it going, man? Like, what's going on in your life?
Tons going on. I've got a few different companies, a few different kids. Life is busy.
Yeah, no doubt. I know all about that. Yeah, we have 3 kids and 3 grandchildren of our own, and our youngest grandchild, she comes over to our house 3 days a week. Janet gets the pleasure of not really babysitting, but my daughter Mackenzie comes over, 2, 3, 4 times a week with Skylar, who's our youngest grandchild. So we get to, participate in her life a good bit. I got home a little bit earlier tonight to get ready to pack. Vic and I are heading down to South Carolina tomorrow morning to meet up with Ken Yance and a couple of our other teammates down south there. And so I got to go home, spend a little bit of time with her, work out, do my thing, get ready mentally, physically, emotionally ready for Behind the Tool Belt, and do our thing like we do. We work all day, and we kind of hang out in our little garage that we call our studio, and rock out with our little garage band and bring in special guests like you and talk a little bit about what you guys do and what events that you may be at and how people can get a hold of you and all that good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is what is it that you do? I guess like what is let's start with your favorite thing to do. What is your favorite thing to do? And we'll start there.
Well, man, it probably depends on the day of the week. I've got to say that my favorite thing that I do is being dad. But um, in terms of business, probably my favorite thing still is Restoration Referral System. Um, I focus very specifically on helping other contractors get really good at creating referral relationships with insurance agents, and which sounds kind of long-winded and boring and all that sort of stuff, but it's actually um it's the thing that I'm really really good at, and it's something that has kind of changed my life in terms of the sales volume that I was doing, the profitability that I was doing, the time management that went into all of that. And it's something that teaching it now has allowed me to share that with other people. So seeing all these salespeople that are, doing decent already without our training, just completely blow up and transform their lives. That's kind of the coolest thing for me. It's I'm usually selling to the company owner, and I'm like, hey, we can help you make a bunch more money. But really, it's the individual salespeople that get me excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you get to see their success. You get to watch that success. So what, what is it that it is like? So you're referring insurance agents, you're referring leads. Are you a lead gen company? What would you consider?
No, it really is a training. So I'm not talking to the insurance agent for you. I can help you pull a list of insurance agents to reach out to, but it's kind of a step-by-step approach of, here's what to say on the phone to get past their gatekeeper. Here's what to say to that agent to get a meeting with them where they're going to be excited to meet you and actually, put something on the books with you and show up. And more importantly, here's what you say when you're in that meeting, so it actually leads to a conversion because they've already got somebody who's not you, and they've probably trust that person. They've worked with them for years. So if you're going to come in and create this come to Jesus moment where they go, holy cow, I can't believe I've been referring anybody but TC Backer. You really have to be intentional about the way that you construct that. And I see a lot of guys that are good salespeople and represent good companies and all that sort of stuff. And and they're used to selling customers. They think they can go in with that same pitch to an agent and be successful. And uh, it takes a little bit more of an effort. It takes a little bit more planning to do that on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm assuming you have a good bit of, experience with the insurance world. Where did that come
Yeah.
from?
I grew up doing construction with my dad. I kind of got into some sales stuff after college, all sorts of different sales, and then ended up marrying the two and going into construction sales, doing new builds, remodels, additions, pop tops, dig outs, you name it. And that's all retail stuff. And the company I was working for opened a roofing division, and I was used to selling these, $50,000 kitchen remodel that the customer needs to reach into their bank account or, in their HELOC or whatever and pull out 50 grand. So it's a lot tougher sale versus being able to show up and go, hey, for $1,000, I'll give you a $20,000 roof.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, holy cow, this is nuts. Um, this is going to be a lot more resilient to downturns and all that sort of stuff. So I started kind of shifting that direction, and then ultimately ended up leaving that company, and went all into roofing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So that leads me to a good question where you're talking about, the insurance aspect of things is, I don't want to say recession proof, but more economically, better to fare the weather, the storm, I guess, right? Okay,
Yeah,
sustain the storm. Okay, let's put it that way. So, but now you're hearing a lot about offering financing to somebody that may have, some storm damage done to the roof. What's
yeah.
your opinion on that topic? Because that seems to be kind of a hot and cold topic here and there.
I think it's one way to skin the cat. It's tricky with getting insurance carriers to pay claims appropriately. And I think, if you can finance the deal and, some people like Jen Silver have gotten, really deep into this side of things. But, if you can finance that deal, you're getting paid on it. And now the customer's incurred the cost, which puts a little more onus on the carrier to pay your price as opposed to their price. So I
Mhm.
think it's valuable in that sense. I do think it is still kind of a tough hill to climb with a lot of customers to tell them to go finance something that the check's already in the mail for,
Mhm.
so to
Yeah.
speak. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think I feel like there's a time and a place for everything, right? There may be some customers that that need that option. Whether it be, maybe shit, it could even be as simple as their deductible. Let's say they can't afford their deductible, but they can get finance for the deductible. Um, let's just say that they're in dire straits of a roof now, right? Like, and waiting
yeah,
instead of waiting for the insurance company, maybe financing a quicker option. I think first and foremost with financing in general, I mean, this is that there's a couple different rabbit holes we can go down here with the whole financing, especially when it comes to the roofing industry, right? I think as far as the roofing industry in general, at least in our area, or from what I've seen, I can't speak on the behalf of the roofing industry, I guess. That I think that we don't do enough of it. I don't think we offer it enough, or homeowners don't know it's available, right? I feel like
yeah,
there's not enough contractors getting involved with the financing portion of it. Would you
yeah.
agree with that?
I work with a lot of contractors, so I get to kind of see behind the scenes, behind the curtain with a lot of them, see what's working, what's not. I think the guys that are really successful have it readily available and it's presented to every single customer, but they're not cramming it down their throat saying you have to go this route. This is our
Mhm,
process. So I think a lot of guys make the mistake of not having it as convenient and easy enough for
mhm.
everybody, and then they can also make the mistake of going too hard on it.
Yeah. No, and I can agree. Like I always think of Anderson. Like Anderson's not even selling windows and renewal by Anderson, and hopefully nobody that works there is listening to this. Um, but it's like they're not even selling windows, they're selling financing, right? Like
Yeah,
when they go in there, it's like you said, they're cramming it down their throat, and they do like that hard close. And that obviously it works. It has worked for them for decades. So but that's I think we can all learn something from that if we can find that happy medium, because let's face it, as soon as you walk up to a homeowner's home, whether they call you looking for a roof or you're door knocking or what, however you're getting that lead or that referral, right? As soon as you hit that driveway, there's usually a car or two in the driveway. Those are financed, right? Their kitchen has been financed, or even their dog. I heard somebody say yesterday, I can't remember what kind of breed it was, but it was hilarious. Like one of those cockerdoodles or something like that. He was calling it, it's just a mutt, but they paid $1,900 for it and they put it on their credit card.
yeah,
So everything in the home is financed. So why wouldn't they want to finance their roof, right? Because a lot of people, let's face it, I think the average sale ticket on a roof is somewhere between depending upon the region that you're in. Let's say twelve to $15,000 is your average
sure.
cost of a roof, right? A lot of people just don't have 15,000 bucks, and let's face it, a roof is a more of a necessity opposed to a want. Like I don't, I have heard people say I want a new roof, but I think deep down inside, I think it's because they need the roof. I
Yeah,
don't think it's like siding. Like if you're selling siding, most of the time people that want siding, it's because they want to change the color of their home, or do a facelift, or increase the property value, because siding, I don't remember what year it was, might have been 2021. As of 2021, doing siding on your home would increase your property value by up to 17%. And I don't know if a lot of homeowners know that or not, but that's something that we were trained in a certainty. We predominantly use certainty siding, but that was one of our bullet points or nugget that I took away from it is that, and it showed the statistic on how it increased the property value.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And those are just little things, that I think, as an exterior contractor, that we need to be more educated ourselves on the financing aspect of things. And I know Chris Scoville, he's a big influencer in that space right now. He's really coming up through the ranks, and big shout out to him, because he's actually going to train our team to come in and actually teach us how to sell financing, not actually, figure out how to sign a homeowner up, because we can do that, but how do we sell it to a homeowner intelligently, competently, to prove to them that, look, 24 months, same as cash, no interest, 2 tax returns, you have this thing paid off, and no interest, or, to try to really help a homeowner out, especially when it comes to roofing. I feel like financing should be in your arsenal. If it's not, you should seriously consider it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd agree.
Yeah. So anywho, let's get back over to the insurance thing here, man, because this seems to be a hot topic. It's the buzz over here at TC Backer. We've been getting hit with all kinds of storms up north here between Delaware, Pennsylvania. Maryland is kind of our corridor up here. And we just got hit with a tornado yesterday. Or was it Monday? Monday. I think it was Monday. My days were kind of running together here a little bit, but so our guys are out there trying to help homeowners out. We're actually removing trees. We also have a landscaping business as well. So we're out helping homeowners clean up from the storm damage. Telephone poles are down. It was pretty significant. I believe Hagerstown, Maryland ended up getting like 2-inch hail from it. And that's probably about 40 minutes from us. So, can you explain the process for filing an insurance claim? If a homeowner experienced damage, like what should be the first thing that they should do?
Well, can I give you what most people do and what they should be doing instead?
Totally. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to hear it.
Because this may be a little bit controversial, but what most people do is they go look at the roof and they go, "Yep, it's damaged." Take a handful of photos, maybe tell the customer you need to file a claim. And they file a claim. The adjuster comes out, they look at it, they do whatever they're going to do, deny it, approve it, somewhere in between. And then the contractor sits there and argues why their scope is wrong, their pricing's wrong, everything's wrong. What I found a lot of success with, and I've had a lot of clients replicate this process and have a lot of success with, but I will say the vast majority of contractors don't have the huevos to pull this off. Is to start with that customer even before you've looked at their roof, and put them in the driver's seat and let them know, hey, can I explain to you the way that we work? It's a little bit different than some other contractors. And that way you can tell me if we're the type of contractor that you're looking for, right? Like that's very, let's be transparent about it. So we are professionals at insurance restoration and at roofing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to inspect your entire property. We're going to document everything, whether it's damaged or not. And I'm going to share all of that over with you. I'll actually send you a link right now so you can watch it while I'm doing my inspection. And I suspect we're going to find damage. There's been a lot of damage in the area here. We saw some collateral in the mailbox, whatever the case is, right? But I don't know until I look at it. But assuming that there's damage and assuming that you have a loss that your insurance company should be paying for here to replace, what we'll do is we'll provide that entire documentation package there. But I'm also going to write an estimate for our scope of work. And I'll use the same program your insurance company is going to use. And we'll put that together in your packet for you. Now, what's going to happen is when you take those two things, as well as our contract for that amount, what your insurance company is going to do, and by the way, that's contract, not contingency agreement. But what your insurance company is going to do when you file the claim and give them all that information all up front, they're going to set a loss reserve for basically put some money aside to pay that claim, assuming that you have a valid claim. Now, if you call them and don't have any information, I don't have any photos, I don't have any pricing, I don't have any contract, what they're going to do is they're going to look up in their system and go, well, for this zip code, we typically pay $375 a square. Looks like the roof is 22 squares. Bing, bang, boom. Here's your number. We're going to put that pile of money aside. And the adjuster that comes out to your house, he's a good company employee and he likes you. He's a decent human being, but he wants to be a good employee too. And so he's going to try to come in under that number and save the company a little bit of money. That looks good on his, quarterly reviews. And so now what we're dealing with is them setting a reserve at a kind of low amount to begin with, him undercutting that amount, and then me coming with my appropriate estimate and trying to argue to get them to that proper amount. And that a lot of times takes months. It gets heated. It's a really difficult process. I'm not saying we can't do it, but it can be done. What I would rather do is when we submit all that stuff to the carrier, what they're going to do is say, oh, well, how much should we set aside? And now they don't have to guess. They don't have to use their computer. They don't have to do anything. They can look at the information that we've sent them and go, oh, that's the number. So it's $20,000. And they put that number in the system. And it's not approved yet. They're not going to pay that $20,000 until they come out and investigate the loss. But they're setting that money aside. And they're going to send out their adjuster, who's still a good company man. He's still going to try to save them some money. Now, the system that we're using to estimate that is a component-based estimating tool. So if I were building a cheeseburger in that estimating tool, I would use a line item for the buns, a line item for the burger, a line item for the cheese, for the lettuce, for the tomato, for the onion, for the ketchup, for the mustard. And I've built lots of cheeseburgers. And so I know exactly what's in there. And I'm going to include everything that is supposed to be in there, either that's already on the roof or that's required by the building codes. Now, the insurance company is never going to overpay me. They're never going to pay me for something that they're not supposed to pay me for, but they absolutely will underpay your claim if we don't hold them accountable. And so oftentimes they habitually will leave some of those things off, and they can be big things too. And so rather than let them give us the estimate and us fight over whether or not they are supposed to include pickles, I'm going to give them the estimate for the whole cheeseburger, appropriately built, with good quality materials, with a good chef. And if they think anything shouldn't be covered, and I've made mistakes before, I said we're professionals, we're good at what we do, but we may make a mistake. They can point that out to us, and we can make corrections and make sure that we come to the right number. But they're going to have to tell us why they're not paying for those things, and instead of us trying to fight for what they should pay for. So all that to be said, your cost, fortunately, if this is an insurance claim, since we still haven't even looked at the roof yet, but if this is an insurance claim, your cost is going to be fixed at your deductible amount, plus any upgrades. If you want to go, do something super special and make this thing really zing, we can do that. The insurance company doesn't owe for that, but your cost is going to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, given that your cost is fixed, whether you use us, a quality contractor, or fly by night, chuck in a truck, who's going to take a month to get your roof done, and it's all going to be screwed up, and he's going to be out of business, the day before it starts leaking. What type of contractor are you looking for? And right there, before you even get into anything, they're going to let you know, well, we want to get 3 bids. Okay, cool. We can tackle that now. And we can, talk about, go back into that before I've even taken the first picture of my inspection. But most people are just going to go, yeah, that's the guy that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already established the rules of the game, and we've already established doing this thing right so that we can get the claim paid appropriately and quickly and fairly. But it does take having the skill to do that documentation really well It takes, knowing your stuff and having your processes in place so that you can create a really sound and document based estimate and a solid contract, and just having the discipline to say, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to get all my ducks in a row before we file the claim, instead of just the desperation of, I convinced this customer to file a claim. Let's go ahead and throw it against the wall. So I know that was long winded, but
No.
that's something I'm very passionate about. Being, being thoughtful about your approach there.
Yeah. No, I loved it. And there's a couple people that commented in there too. Jim Hankey, big shout out to him, but he said right away that, that's great information. And he's not in the roofing space. He's actually works for Bobcat. So he's a homeowner, right? So
Yeah.
the information that you're talking about is helpful information. So I really enjoyed it personally. And I agree with you. It's like, instead of being, I'm the kind of guy that when it comes to things like this, and I know Chris Markey, he's on here because I gave him shit about this the other day. But when it comes to situations like this, I feel like it works better with the least point of resistance, especially when it comes to insurance companies and a lot of public adjusters. I mean, you can build and create relationships with these people because they're just human beings. Like you said, we make errors, they make errors, but if they're not, if you get the scope of work back and it doesn't have ice and water or drip edge on it, and the shingle manufacturer requires, I mean, I don't know what shingle manufacturer doesn't, specify in their specs that you can install shingles without drip edge on it. But there's a lot of homes, especially down south, that were built, newer homes built, that don't have drip edge on it because it's not a local code. So if and when you come across something like that, because that for us, for me, at least here lately, it seems like I'm experiencing a good bit of the insurance companies don't want to pay for ice and water nor drip edge. So how would you handle a situation like that to try to nip that in the bud so it doesn't become a round and round argument?
Yeah. So again, if you're making the first move, you're writing your estimate. In your estimate, when you've got your line item for the drip edge, and we're presuming that it's not present. If it's present, that's a slam dunk. You've
Right.
got to put it back.
Hmm.
But assuming it's not present right now, but the code requires that it is put back, which I think just about anywhere is going, 2018 and up for the enforced code, is going to require that. And a lot of places adopted it even earlier than that. But I would, in my estimate, I would have an F9 note that lists that very specific code reference.
Hmm.
And so they don't have to go anywhere else. They can go, here's the IRC, and I don't know I'm not like some of those guys that know the numbers and the code reference right off the top of their head, but you
Yes.
better believe I can pull it up on my computer in 14 seconds. So,
Right.
it's already macroed into the estimate if you know what you're
Hmm.
doing. But that's kind of the way to go about it. And, at the end of the day, you've got to install it. And I'm going to charge for all the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to document all the things that I'm going to do. So I think it's going to be pretty rare that they're not going to pay it when they see that it's actually done. And I know a lot of guys get all bent out of shape on PWI, paid when incurred stuff.
Hmm.
I don't care. As long as you pay for it, I don't care when you pay for it. Like, um, but I think it's fairly rare that they're not going to pay for it. If you provide the code documentation, you provide the photos showing that you did actually put that stuff on the roof.
Hmm.
Because that's one of the things that they have to look out for too, is because there's shady guys out there that are going to go bill for it and then not put it on that customer's roof. And so that's one reason I don't really care about the paid when incurred. I'll just show you that I did the right thing.
Okay. All right. Well, that seems easy enough. So what type of estimating software are you using? Are you using Exactimate with it being spelled out the same exact way that most insurance companies are using?
Yes. So there's a a dozen different ways to skin that cat, whether you're writing your own estimate or use an Xactimate, whatever. I do still think that there's some benefits to writing your estimate in Xactimate, but it doesn't have to be done that way. There's, you've got one of your sponsors, Roofle, has their way to write estimates in there. Which, by the way, I don't know if you've had Mike Goldenstein on the podcast yet, but he knows code better than I could ever hope to.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike's been on the show actually several times. They flew into Philadelphia and drove to our studio
Yeah.
like maybe episode 185 or something, few weeks ago. And you're right, Mike is definitely a very knowledgeable gentleman, considering the fact that he's been in this industry a very long time, specifically with a manufacturer. So that was pretty cool, that to have him and his knowledge. And we just ran into him most recently up in Massachusetts at Coast to Coast tour.
Yeah.
John Dye's Coast to Coast tour. So we got to run into him for a little bit up there. But good people, Roofle, great product. And you're right, they do write a good estimate, and great group of guys over there. So okay, so you don't stress the PWI, so you feel totally comfortable with the price wow incurred, putting the drip edge on, even though that the scope of work doesn't specify up front from the
Oh,
insurance
no. So yeah, so I do want it on the estimate.
on your
If they put
estimate.
it as basically they're not paying for it until I show proof that it's done, I'm fine with that. But
Okay.
no, it needs to be they should be putting that on the estimate and approving that beforehand when they're provided with the code documentation.
Right. And just so I understand, so basically when you go out to that adjuster meeting, you have all of your facts straight, you have your quote in hand, and you're up on the roof with the adjuster and pointing out the things that you found during your initial inspection. At that point in time, are you handing him your estimate, or are you
So
emailing it, or
both.
explain that process?
Yeah, so one, when the customer has submit our estimate and our photo documentation and our contract, that goes into the claim file, and typically they're seeing it before they ever go out. And so one, if you do that really well, a lot of times they won't send anybody out. They just go, "Yep, we're dead to rights. Here's your check." And everybody wants, oh, that's going to take so much time. Well, look how much time it just saved because
Mhm.
you did it right up front. Everybody they want to do a half-ass inspection and then to save time and then get mad when their claims drag out for months. But yeah, I think it's a great idea because sometimes their systems are disconnected or they want to pretend like they are or whatever. And so when I get out there, they give me their business card. Hey, I'll go ahead and send over my stuff to you. Here's all the documentation. And again, if the carrier didn't already tell him, he knows he's dead to rights. It and basically holding him accountable to do the right thing. I'm super duper friendly on an adjuster meeting.
Mhm.
I've usually, I'll leave them the best parking spot. I'll leave them the best spot to put their ladder. I'll, let them know, hey, we've already done all our documentation stuff. We've already sent our stuff in. I'm here to help out. If there's anything I can help you with, if you need me to carry your ladder, get you a drink, rub your back, whatever we need to do, help hold your ladder for you. I just want to make sure that we're safe out here, and that we get a chance to take a look at this,
Mhm.
right? Like, and then I'll just kind of stick out of your way unless you need me.
Right. Yeah, and
And
I've had situations already where the adjuster didn't want to get on the roof. I got up on the roof for them, took photos, marked the storm damage for them, took photos of that.
yeah,
They just asked me a few questions. Hey, can you check this? Can you check that? How does this look? Can you take a picture of that? Went down, shared my photos with them, and it was super simple. I've had them, like you said, not even come out. I've had them, either case where they've just asked the homeowner to get a quote, or I've had the insurance company ask me to just give them a quote too, because of the way that I feel we've conducted ourselves in the past. has allowed those opportunities to be presented to us. But then, of course, you get some out of town guys that we don't know, of course, that are coming in from all over the place because they become storm chasers too at times. Your adjusters when they come out, and
Yeah.
and I've heard good and bad stories about local and those that are out of town. What's your opinion on that?
A lot of times the local guys are salary. They've got their boss barking down their back to, keep their approvals down. And so that's kind of pressing the pendulum to the not buying side, to the denying side. Whereas the traveling guys, the cat guys, are typically getting paid based on what they bought, and so they're incentivized to buy. And
Okay.
so a lot of times that can be good. They are the difference in my experience. The cat guys are usually overloaded with claims, and
Hmm.
so they may skip things. They may skip steps and just rush through it and miss things for the fact that they're just too busy. And I think that's an intentional dynamic that's been created.
Right on. Right on. So when you show up to a homeowner's house, I heard you say, you check the mailbox, see if it has any dents. What are some other things that you are looking for when you approach the house?
So it depends on how long ago the storm was, right? If the storm was today, I'm gonna see leaves shredded up off the trees, right? I'm gonna look at their car in the driveway. A lot of times you'll see, hey, do they need some PDR too?
Hmm.
You can look at the utility box, that big green box that you see, in different spots in the neighborhood. Those are really good at having that painted metal that oxidizes, and that spatter will create marks, and that's going to not only tell me did hail fall, but how big was it, what direction was it going. With spatter, you do always want to look at uh, s- things that are perpendicular to the ground, right? Like the top of that box, because the side of that box is just going to catch kind of glancing blows. It's not going to tell you the true size of the hail that hit. But really just keep your eyes out for everything, and then we've got a very specific inspection process that we go through that we're going to document everything. So I don't I'm not all that concerned about what I'm finding walking up to the house. Maybe that's giving me some clues or whatever. I most of the time I know what's going on before I get there anyway.
Hmm.
And I'm going to do basically the same inspection, whether I find any damage or no damage or a ton of damage. There's a lot of value there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And I've heard people, they're inspecting the windowsills for dents, torn screens, HVAC units and stuff like that. They'll do a full, exterior inspection. They'll check, before they get up on the roof or even after they come down off the roof. So I guess this is one question. So I know a lot of times, unless it's a hip roof, so let's just say it's a standard gable roof, and there's only damage to the front side of the roof. What have you done in those instances? Have you just settled for, okay, we're just going to do the front of the house, or is there something that you can do to convince the insurance company that the entire roof needs redone?
So I've never sloped a roof personally. I've just hasn't happened. So one part of that reason is I was selling roofs in Colorado where the vast majority of the damage is hail, and
Hmm.
I've yet to run into a roof that hail didn't hit both sides of. But the argument with wind really is you're going to have to go to the manufacturer specs, which 2015 and later, IRC is going to enforce that you follow those manufacturer guidelines, which are going to cause you to lap um, that underlayment over from one side to the other. And even if you've got a ridge vent, it's typically not going to go end to end. It's going to, have a 2 foot gap on either end, or, should anyway.
Mhm.
Um, so the, essentially you're pulling at that thread of the sweater, that, and showing them. And you can take, I love taking like drone photos, and then I'll draw on them and go, hey, here's the lapse of the underlayment. This is where it needs to go. But again, pointing at another guy, which I did see on your intro, John Sinek, is, one of the guys that was on there. He's got some really good stuff about, that repairability. We're actually, with Building Experts Institute, my other, kind of training organization, got a course coming up with John Sinek, and Chad Williams, if you know him.
Nice. Yeah, why don't you explain that to us a little bit? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So, with Restoration Referral System, I started off, training, contractors, and basically having the same conversation over and over and over again, like a 2 hour long conversation.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is stupid. I should record this and let people consume some of the information that way, right?
Mhm.
Free me up a little bit. And so I recorded some of the worst, webcam, terrible audio videos you've ever seen,
Mhm.
and put together a course. And the information was there, but it was rough. I kind of felt bad about it. And so I set out to find a really good videographer, and I was like, I'm gonna have the best freaking video content. It's gonna be, the content's already good. I'm gonna get the quality of it as best as I possibly can. It's gonna be the best in this industry.
Mhm.
And fortunately, I found, this guy John Tillman, came to work for me, and is just an artist. He's skilled. He's got all the best programs. We've invested tons into equipment, and we put together a really, really good course. That's, if you have to look at my face and listen to my voice for hours on end, at least it's going to be, crispy audio and good video and good lighting and all that sort of stuff. And, in that time, I, met and made friends with Matt Mulholland,
Mhm.
and, we ended up kind of seeing an opportunity for the three of us to partner up on this Building Experts Institute. And the vision for it really is having that really high production value, really curating the curriculum for the courses so that they're very strategic. They're not just all over the place. They're, not just random bits of information, but it's actually useful. It's actually in a good format. And instead of it, like a lot of training, being the Matt Danskin show, or the, whoever the personality is, there's nobody that knows everything. And I like to think I know a good bit about a lot of these things.
Mhm.
There's somebody that is the guy for that thing. So Mike Goldenstein's actually doing a course with us on, understanding building code and that
Mhm.
implementation of that. John Sinek is doing a course on, with Chad Williams, is doing that course on repairability of asphalt shingles. Matt Mulholland is doing some courses in there.
Mhm.
I've got a course actually on inspecting steep slope roofing systems. So we're just taking the very best person that we can in whatever topic, producing it really well, putting it together. So that's really exciting. That's still kind of fairly new. We're just about to drop our second course, and they'll be coming out about one a month, going forward. But, I think that's going to be, a pretty big deal, here in the industry, and
Yeah.
help a lot of people get a depth of information and knowledge on whatever specific topic.
Yeah. No, and I was going to ask you, is this fairly new? And you answered that question there. So I love how you said that, you know enough, but that you wanted to surround yourself around, guys that were a little more experienced or had more knowledge to give more value to those that would like your training. Now, with this training, excuse me, is this like a course that you can buy online? Or are you guys going on tour? Are you gonna like be speakers at conferences? Like, where can people assess this at? And then when you're done with that question, we'll bring Bacon and see how the hell he's doing up there in Boston.
So yes, it is an online course. So they can go to buildingexperts.institute and check that out. They can subscribe, and basically you subscribe to it and you get all the courses. So, we're as we add more courses, the value just builds and builds and builds. And so that's kind of the model for it. We will be at a lot of conferences, and whether it's me or Matt Mulholland or any of the other trainers, a lot of us end up speaking and training at events. But in terms of BEI, Building Experts Institute, it's that's kind of the model for it. Is it for it to be that online based training, so that it's scalable and helps keep the cost down, honestly, because when you got to fly across the country and leave your family and go stay in a hotel and do all these things or whatever, it gets expensive real quick.
Yeah, no doubt. Right before, so is there a website that somebody can go to download this?
Buildingexperts.institute.
Vic, can you put that in there for us in the comments? Can you repeat it one more time, Matt?
Yep, buildingexperts.institute.
Buildingexperts.institute. Cool. So, Bake, how you doing? Matt, have you met Chris
What's up,
before?
guys? What's up, Matt?
Hey.
Listening to all this information, man. I've been tuning in the comments without being on here. Got a lot of good information in here, man. There's a lot of comments saying that this is really useful information. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, for sure, Matt. And this is one thing. Selfishly, I didn't have to pay for your services. I figured if I manipulated you to come on to the show, we wouldn't have to pay for your services. That's why half our team's in here watching right now.
Hell yeah.
No,
yeah.
but like you touched on, man, it's who you're surrounding yourself around that's going to make whatever you're getting involved with, right? And you've, between Matt Mahala and Mike Goldenstein and John, those guys are top notch. Everybody knows that. If we wanted to consider like what we should probably do is start like an A list for the roofing industry, and those guys are probably like on that A list of along with yourself, right? You know what I mean? Opposed to like, John Maxwell and Ed Milet, like they're A-listers in that motivational or whatever, right? So, but in the roofing industry, you guys are like the A-list, A-listers in the roofing industry, and to be around those guys. I got to spend a little bit of time with Matt down at TJ McCormick did Shingling Ahead of the Curve, I believe. We did a 12-hour live broadcast down at Matt's old, whatever the hell it was, the institute, something institute down there. But that was pretty wild. Got to witness, I believe it was his first attempt with the hail cannon, I think. That was pretty intense. And then I spent a good bit of time with him out at When the Storm. He had the hail cannon there. Also, we traveled a lot. Roofing process, he had the hail cannon. So I got to spend brief moments, but a good bit of brief moments with Matt. Great, knowledgeable guy that almost intimidates me when it comes to the insurance game. And then Mike, like you said, with the codes and stuff like that. And then John with his knowledge of types of shingles, and if they're not being made anymore, if they're discontinued was the word that I was looking for. Oh shit. Bake, what do you got going on there?
All right, so for anyone that doesn't know, I'm up here at my best friend's bachelor party. We decided to go to Boston. We stopped in New Haven, Connecticut. There's a disc golf course here. We're disc golfers, so we're trying to go on like a disc golf tour to some pro courses and stuff around here. But Dave Portnoy, I think that's how you say Portney, whatever, the Barstool Sports guy, does the one bite, everyone knows the rules challenge. And there's two spots that are within a block from each other. So we went to the first spot, which is Pepe Frank's. Was not impressed. Terrible undercarriage. It wasn't crispy. It was kind of runny and just not that great. So this spot is his top rated place. It's called Sally's. It seems legit. I'm going to try to rip a piece off here. It seems legit. And I'm going to do a one bite challenge here, live one here, and give you guys my rating. I'm not huge on pizza, so my rating is going to be kind of bad. But I'm going to ask these guys that are in my background here what their ratings are, and we'll give you guys a good idea of which one's better. I'm telling you right now, the Pepe Franks, I gave it a 6.8 because I just wasn't very impressed. So here we go. One bite. Ready? It was much better.
I was waiting for you to jam the whole thing in your mouth. Like that wasn't a bite, bro.
One giant bite.
Yeah, one
Yep.
giant bite challenge. No? Okay. Lightweight.
I'm going 7.2.
Okay.
It's a little more crispy. A little bit. What do you guys think? Good. Do you want to say hi?
7.5.
Yeah, get the
I
bachelor
I didn't
over
know we
here.
could eat pizza on the show, so I had a pizza delivered, and it got here like 4 minutes before the show. So I ate like half of a pizza in 3 minutes.
We'll break it out, bro. Do the one bite challenge, like the entire piece.
The one bite challenge.
Yeah.
I'm not sticking that whole piece of pizza in my mouth on this damn
Dude,
line. You guys already
man,
got me with some
I'm so
shit, man. I'm good.
disappointed right now, bro.
I know Vic's over there.
Damn
Vic's
it.
over there chomping at the bit, waiting for me to shove this piece of pizza in my mouth.
Dude, I'm so disappointed. Where's Cody at? I know he'll do it. Get his ass on film over here.
No.
Cody, my man. What's going on, brother? You can talk with your mouth full.
He said shove that whole piece of pizza in your mouth, bro.
I can't right now. Ate too much. You
Damn.
called me in the beginning.
But listen, I appreciate you letting me on, popping on to say hi.
Yeah, bro.
Sorry I couldn't hop in earlier.
It's okay.
But Matt, great information.
Mhm.
I'm gonna rewatch and hit the stuff that I missed because I was popping in and out, going in and out of these places. But I'm definitely gonna rewatch. If you guys have not, all the viewers, if you guys not have done so already, make sure you hop on YouTube, like and subscribe to Behind the Tool Belt.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you do, brother. Have
Yeah, man.
fun.
Thank you. I'll see you on Monday, guys.
Yeah, man.
Matt, it was very good meeting you, man.
Likewise.
Yep. See you guys.
Awesome. Cool. Sorry for the interruption, Matt. I didn't think you would mind if we
No, not at
zoomed
all.
Chris in quick. I thought for sure. Damn it, I'm so disappointed. I thought he was going to throw like half that pizza in his face at one time. Like what? I guess I don't understand the rules.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the hell is going on. But anyhow, so let's talk about like RCV and ACV. Like, what's the difference? Are you pretty knowledgeable in that stuff?
Sure. Yeah, I mean with RCV and ACV, roofing, RCV is a betterment policy. Essentially, your roof is however old, a year old, 30 years old, 100 years old. You can't go buy if it gets smoked by hail and it's 10 years old, you can't go buy a 10-year-old roof to replace it like you would with your car. My 6-year-old car gets totaled, they're going to give me enough money to buy a 6-year-old car. So with that RCV amount, they're going to better your position. They're going to give you a brand new roof, right? That's the exciting thing about it. And you pay premiums based on that. Or you just do it on an ACV basis, an actual cash value where they say, hey, you've got a 15-year-old roof. It's expected to last about 30 years. We're going to give you half of what it costs. And there's some nuances to the way that things are depreciated. Your labor is not depreciated, some things like that. But long and short of it is that you're going to get a portion of the money. I know a lot of roofers that get bent out of shape about customers having ACV policies. I really don't have a problem with it so long as the homeowner understands what they bought. So if they know, hey, I'm assuming some of this risk in exchange for a lower price on my premiums, cool. Well, you rolled the dice and it came up snake eyes. So now it's time to pay, $10,000 of that $20,000 roof.
Right.
I hope you save that $10,000 that you've been saving in premiums.
Right. How do you find the actual cash value of a property?
How do I find the value?
Yeah.
Well, really, really
Go
what you're
ahead.
going to do is you're just going to estimate for the replacement cost,
Hmm.
and you're going to depreciate the items that can be depreciated. And so really that's the one thing in terms of estimating that I don't think is the contractor's job to do. You
Hmm.
might help them provide some documentation to say, hey, my roof isn't as old as what you're saying it is, or something like that may help them out a little bit. But your job is to assess how much is it going to cost to replace this roof.
Hmm. Right.
And then it's their job to decide who owes for what
Right.
based on the
Right.
policy.
Understood. Now, explain to us what depreciation is.
Depreciation is the loss in value um, due to the age of that component. So, like I said in that example, if your shingles are expected to last 30 years and they're 10 years old, they're going to depreciate it a third of uh, what its cost is.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about recoverable depreciation? Because I feel like there's like two forms of depreciation, I guess, for lack of better terms.
Well, the
Or is it
the
based upon what
depreciation
type
can
of?
either be recoverable or not. So in that ACV policy, the depreciation is not recoverable.
Okay.
The insurance company doesn't owe for it. In the RCV policy, the um, depreciation is recoverable.
Okay. How now? Who gets the check? Does the homeowner get that recoverable depreciation check, or does the contractor get it?
In most situations, that's going to be the homeowner, unless the contractor is using an assignment of claim or assignment of benefit. That's going to go straight to the homeowner, and um, you know, based on the the contractor's final invoice, usually.
Okay. Okay. No, and that's great information too, because I think a lot of homeowners don't know the difference. I think you touched on it. I think a lot of homeowners don't either realize that they have an RCV or if they have an ACV. Um, and I think, because a lot of people go with what's called an insurance broker, right? And of course, everybody wants to be cheaper. They want your business. And I think when, you get a broker involved, he's trying to get you, an affordable, homeowners insurance, especially if it's an FHA loan or whatever type of loan. Obviously, you have to have homeowners insurance on it. Um, and let's face it, a lot of people can't afford like $1,200 a month, homeowners insurance. I think most run right around, somewhere between 350 to $500 a month, on average, I guess, if you haven't had a claim. Oh, which brings up another great question. Um, okay. So if a homeowner has to call the insurance company,
Yeah.
and this is probably the $1 million question, we hear this a lot. Will their homeowners insurance increase if they have to use the insurance to replace their roof?
If their roof has been damaged by an act of God, a hailstorm, a windstorm, um, their their premiums legally cannot be increased on a singled out basis. So the insurance company can't go, Ty, your house keeps getting hit by hail, I'm raising your rate. Right? If you get hit, I've had customers get hit 3 years in a row.
Mhm.
Get a new roof 3 years in a row.
Mhm.
They can't single you out and go, hey, you know what? We're going to make you pay a bunch more money. They can do a couple of things. They can non-renew you just because they don't like buying you roofs, which is not that big of a deal. There's plenty of carriers out there that can cover you. More than likely, what's going to happen is if your house got hit with hail, a bunch of people in your zip code got hit with hail. They're buying a bunch of roofs, and they can go back to their actuary tables and go, hey, you know what? We're collecting this much in premiums. We're paying this much out in coverage. We need to up our rates to cover all that.
Mhm.
And so it's typically going to be a minor increase, but that increase is going to happen for everybody in that territory, regardless of whether or not they got a new roof.
Exactly. And that's kind of the answer that I was looking for. So whether they get the roof or not, is if everyone else in the neighborhood, that, what do they call that? They called it a zone, right? Like, I guess if they're within that zone, right? Whether they get their roof replaced or not, and everybody else is in the neighborhood, the likelihood of your insurance rate going up is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. This has been such a great podcast. I apologize if my enthusiasm wasn't here tonight. It's been like, I haven't been home maybe one day a week for the past 6 months.
Oh wow.
And I think fatigue's really starting to set in here on me a little bit. So hopefully this weekend, even though I'll be down in Greenville, I should be able to get a little bit of rest this weekend down there, and recharge. I need a recharge. I'm due for a recharge. But man, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I look forward to seeing you. What's gonna be your first show of the season that you guys plan on hitting?
I guess my first show I want to say is going to be RoofCon in Orlando. That's in November. I don't think I have anything coming up prior to that.
Great. That's going to be our first one too. We're gonna roll out some new stuff, a little different setup. We're not gonna unveil it till RoofCon. I don't know how many other shows that we're gonna actually do. We're not gonna do as many as we did last year. I think we did them all last year, and it was a lot of work, not just on me, but the team. The
Oh, yeah.
team, and I'll be honest with you, I quite frankly, I don't think I've recovered from it yet mentally. Traveling, and I'm sure you can. I'm singing to the choir here because I know you've traveled a lot. I've actually followed you for quite some time, and I know you guys are kind of the the pioneers of what we're doing now, and but have been a great example for our industry and those new coming into it, and those of us that are seasoned in our industry. But I look forward to seeing you on the road. I look forward to having you back on the show at RoofCon. We actually get the pleasure of hosting Rise Above show with Diego Dante is going
Okay.
to we're going to change the backdrop, and Diego is going to be doing his podcast. I don't know if he's going to be doing it live or if they're just going to be recording it, or Vic actually is going to be recording myself and Diego. I'm not sure who the guests are going to be. So you'll have an opportunity there, and also with Behind the Tool Belt. And I assure you, I will be much more jacked up at that point in time. The atmosphere just gets me fired up. And,
Yeah.
but I look forward to seeing you guys there. I think we're going to end up doing a breakout too. I got a pretty good, PowerPoint that I think I'm going to present this year, opposed to, I kind of went by the seat of my pants last year, which appeared to be a pretty good turnout for that. But I look forward to running into you some more, but being more intentional of spending at least more than 2.3 seconds with you at these moments. Maybe we can catch up and get a cup of coffee or go out to breakfast or something when we do see each other in Orlando.
Yeah.
But man, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. If you got a new product or something that you want us to plug, your new product that you guys have coming out, I have no problem, sharing, liking, subscribing, to whatever it is that you guys are doing. All four of you guys that you had mentioned earlier, man, are great people. Like I said, they're amongst the A-listers in the roofing industry. So we just created that, just you and I, just so you know that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So
Well, then we get to decide who's in the club and who's not. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyhow, thank you guys so much. I think we're at our 1 hour mark, 1 hour and 3 minutes and 52 seconds here. So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow Matt. I believe Vic put his link in there to his new product that him and the new A-listers that got voluntold that they're A-listers now. And if they're watching, big shout out to you guys too, Matt and Mike and John. You guys are the best. And of course, Matt, yourself, Matthew, you guys rock. Keep doing what you're doing. And like I said earlier, man, if you guys ever need anything, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to come film you, record you, whatever. We're all in. I know Vic's super excited about the media group that we just formed about a year ago, but haven't really done anything with it up until recently. So big shout out to Vic over there behind the Tool Belt Media Group. You should be seeing more stuff coming out. I think we got a new podcast. I'm going to go ahead and drop the nugget. We got a new podcast more veered towards short form content. You'll be able to see that soon on YouTube. So like and subscribe when that comes out. And we got a lot of good things coming up soon too. So a lot of things aren't public yet, but we'll be announcing some great things, I'm sure, by RoofCon. So thank you again, Matt, for coming on the show. You guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in every single week, week in, week out. And we'll see you next week for episode 190. Tony Watley will be our awesome guest for that week. For those of you that don't know who Tony is, I guess you'll have to come check him out because he's a great guy. He's actually my business coach and very knowledgeable. And I know he's done me a lot of good. So thank you guys for tuning in.